Good day, everyone. This is Dallas McClain with Biohackers Magazine. We're here at the Biohacking Congress, where we have over 30 great speakers, doctors, health professionals, and great health industries and products sharing all of their information about the coming trends in health and in performance and longevity. And we're just so excited to be here and learn from all these great people. Be sure to check out the next Congress that's happening in Boston from June 11th to June 12th. Be sure to go to biohackingcongress.com to check out how to get tickets for that. Well, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Philipp, the founder and CEO of Leela Quantum Tech. Philipp, welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
We're very excited to be here, and I'm sure everyone watching is very excited to learn more about you, sir, and this company. So tell me a little bit, let's start there, about Leela Quantum Tech, how you guys started, and what your mission is today.
Yeah, so it's been a whole journey of a lot of things, and we combined all of those in the public launch about a year and a half ago, where we started to introduce a technology which is completely new and cutting edge. It can imprint pure quantum energy into any object. That's one thing it can do, and it's very beneficial for the human body. If you put your hands in there, your feet in there, for example, and it can do a whole lot of other things. You can just put it in your home or your office, and it neutralizes all negative frequencies,
Wow.
including any EMF, literally any EMF, doesn't matter if it's 4G, 3G, 5G. You can copy frequencies with it, and there's even more to it. So that's the one part of what we do, that we actually have that technology that we make available to people. So that's new, right? In the past, a company would have a great technology and would usually keep it for themselves and then make everyone else dependent on it. And we wanted to get this out in a decentralized way where literally the extension of our technology, everybody can buy and purchase, and then they can do pretty much what we can do with it as well.
Wow, very interesting.
Yeah.
So it's more service oriented rather than just consumerism. You guys are looking more to provide a service to anyone looking to remove these negative frequencies in their life.
We will offer a service in the future also, but this is really product related. So we don't
Oh, I
have a
see.
product here right now, but the technology, the quantum block and the infinity block are this big, more or less. It's like 8 by 8 by 8 inches roughly.
Okay.
And those are the products that we make available, so people can have that product, put it in their home, and then work with it. And there are just some amazing things that happen. So it sounds pretty woo-woo because you don't plug it in. There's no electricity. There's also no magnetic brute force. That's on purpose, though, because the quantum field gets destabilized by brute force, and then creates energetic distress for the human body, and that's exactly not what you want. You want something completely harmonious that helps the cells on every level to feel better, to be in full performance, and that's what we have created. Again, I don't have a problem with the fact that it sounds like woo-woo, because you're like, wow, I mean, this thing, and you put your hand in there and this should work. That's what the brain thinks. But very early on, we started to focus on studies to actually show and prove what does it do on the physical level. And we've gone through more tests than any other company in this space. We have been tested by 3 different institutes and various doctors' offices from various continents so far. Heart rate variability, BioWell, oh, you name it. The Emoto Institute in Japan has found that our product, the Quantum Block, optimizes water faster than anything else that they've ever seen before. And now they're wanting to bring our products exclusively to Japan. That's how good they think the products are. And what's very exciting is the dark field microscopy. And I don't know if the listeners know much about it. It's also called live blood analysis. So what you do with that is you take a blood sample, and under a microscope you look literally at the live blood, and you can see the blood cells because they're illuminated in this dark field microscope, and you can see if someone's healthy, not healthy, and so on. And if you're from the US, you may not have heard about this before, about live blood analysis, but that's because 20 years ago some authorities in the US decided that practitioners should pay $100,000 a year as a license in order to use this diagnostic tool,
Wow.
which is quite crazy. You know, what practitioner, who has a single practice can afford that, right? So then you'd rather put it aside and not use it. You can use it for research purposes. In Europe, it's widely used, though. And it's a phenomenal method where you can show in real time what certain medication or supplements or even energy can do to the blood, right? And so far now we've gone through a year and a half of tests and experiments and studies, culminating in double-blind studies that were randomized and sham-controlled to rule out any placebo effects. And we can now say with absolute certainty and statistical significance that our devices work in 100% of the times. In 100% of the cases, they optimize the blood. And not only a little bit, but quite significantly. So I show this really quick to you, and then I hold in the camera. So this is a blood of just a random patient. You can see a lot of those so-called money rolls. Show this here as
Yes,
well.
please.
And those money rolls is exactly what you don't want to have, because it shows the blood cells, they're clogged, right? That's the blood clotting that we hear about a lot. You have a higher risk for heart attack, for stroke, heart disease, and those things. Now, then the patient put the hands in the quantum block for just 5 minutes, and it looks like this.
Wow.
Show you the difference, which is absolutely massive. This is something, where you would really usually work on for several months to promote changes like that. And you can do that with our device in a really short time.
Wow.
Yeah, so now I stop here for a second, but that was the intro. This is the main thing.
So my question is, a follow-up question to that is, basically you saying it takes 5 minutes to change the blood cells, blood to the better blood, but how long do the infections endure? Do they carry on it, or do you have to use the device daily, or what is the suggested routine there?
It depends on the person, because
course.
not everybody is the same and everyone has different issues. So if we're talking about a 68-year cancer patient versus a 30-year-old that's super healthy and fit and all that, makes a big difference already. The fact of the matter is that we're always exposed to EMF. EMF has a negative impact on the blood, and that can actually be shown. Like in 100% of the cases, you will see that blood changes with Wi-Fi exposure. And so if you're not using your own real consciousness and fitness to counter that fully, then you would need something like our tools to help do that. Meaning, if you used our tool in the morning, probably for the rest of the day, you'll be good. But as you keep living in the 5G soup and maybe eat bad things, then you get back to having this unhealthy blood. So ideally, having something like this in your home at all times, you don't have to use it. It's just, if it's there, it's already enough, because it has a field that covers the whole home.
I see.
You're good. And if you didn't have that and wanted to use it, then probably doing it once or twice a day, putting your hands in there, would prevent you from most of the damage.
I see. So when you're talking about the damage from these negative frequencies and everything, can you talk to me a little bit about how the process behind it works in terms of like the quantum mechanics going in and removing these negative frequencies?
Yeah, so if you think about it, we're talking about pure quantum energy, which is the energy behind matter. It's also the energy that we have in each cell. So each cell has a quantum field, and it's that EMF, for example, is something unnatural, and it tends to mess with our energetic system and also with the energy of the cells. So it basically supports a degradation of the human body, right? And then the body needs to work very hard to basically neutralize that. And at some point, because we're also taking in bad food and other things, the body can't keep up with it anymore. And this device gives us basically sort of like a battery to recharge our cells and provide them with the energy to counter that fully. And it happens almost instantly. So this is 5 minutes, but you see already changes happening after a minute or two. And after 10 minutes, actually, you'll see even more changes. So it sort of changes the spin of EMF on one hand. If it's in the same room, it's almost as, EMF would be hitting you literally. And then once that energy is introduced, it's kind of softening that you're getting a body treatment that's not hurting you, but that's actually helping your body.
Mm-hmm.
That's, in a nutshell, how I can explain it for people to be, visualized.
Right.
Because it's a very difficult topic. We could go into the deep science of it, but then no one would understand it anymore. And frankly, vocabulary to explain that is actually difficult to find anyway.
Right.
So what we're trying to do is to visualize it with the studies that we do and have pictures like that, so you can see literally how matter can be positively influenced. But also not just humans. This is for animals as well, for plants. You see significantly more plant growth if you introduce that type of energy. And it's quite fascinating. So it's really for any living organism.
That's very interesting. So any creature whatsoever can be used for
Yes.
any organism. Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So one of the questions I have based off your explanation is, when this is introduced to the home and everything, and you have all these different cases depending on the certain person, but is there a certain case that stands out to you that was really just kind of a remarkable way of healing the body that you'd like to share as an example?
Well, I actually have something here in front of me. We don't like to use the word healing, even though healing is the perfect word to describe certain things, because it means to be healed means to be whole.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what we're working on. But the word healing has been reserved by the pharma industry and not by us.
I see.
So we try to get around that word. But so this is a 68-year-old cancer patient.
Oh, wow.
With blood that looks really, really terrible. We have that here in the camera as well. It's quite sick, and you can see that in the blood, right? And then within 15 minutes of just wearing our Quantum jacket, which is a jacket filled with specific silver fabrics, and then that silver fabrics is charged with our technology, the blood changes in a way that's unheard of, frankly. We have had, I'll show this here real quick as well. We have had practitioners that looked at this, and even the practitioner that ran the last several double-blind studies here in the US, Dr. Beverly Rubik, she didn't think this device could work. She was very concerned about EMF, and she's an expert in these studies. But she thought it can't work. It's an energy device. No, it can't work. And then I asked her, okay, so what would it take for you that you also believe that this works? And she said, well, I have to design this study this way and all that, and we'll do that. And it came out that it worked in 100% of the cases, and she saw that with her own eyes. It was mind-boggling for her, but it works all the time. And this is one of those examples, but we have many examples where people had amazing results. It doesn't happen all the time, right, that you have super instant results. We have people that had 6 years of knee pain. Suddenly, after 10 minutes of putting the knee in the infinity block, the pain is gone. But we can't say that it always happens, because that research really isn't there yet.
Right.
And everybody's so different, right? Everybody has a different knee pain or a different reason for knee pain. I'll be speaking later at the Biohacking Congress, and we did at the Biohacking Conference almost a year ago. We did an experiment live on stage where we had biohacker Todd, who you may know, is a famous biohacker. He's very allergic to crab meat. So he figured out that if he eats crab meat after it was charged in the infinity block, he can tolerate it without any allergies.
Wow.
And to this date, every time if he charges it beforehand, he can tolerate it, no problem, no allergic reaction. But if he doesn't charge it, he still has allergic reactions. So we did that live on stage with the Derma roller.
Wow.
Yeah, and it freaking works.
That's
And
fascinating.
yeah, but with this one, big disclaimer, that's something where I feel like we need to be careful and mindful. I don't want anyone to try that at home, because we need more research, right? If we make claims like with the blood, that's 100% done, verified, and validated. With food allergies, I think they're very broad. There are lots of different foods, and there's a lot more research to be done.
Right.
But it shows there's some real stuff happening in the energetic nature of the objects or substances you put in that are being optimized.
That was
Yeah.
going to be my next question, actually. I know the science obviously isn't there for a lot of the other areas yet, but besides just the blood, do you see this being a beneficial thing to be used to contradict all of the other types of bad things that are happening, like health conditions? Like, for example, my daughter has eczema, and it's pretty bad sometimes, and we have to use sometimes like pharmaceutical creams or whatever. It would be much more appropriate, I think, to use something like this if it was working. I mean, obviously this is way down the line, but do you see this working for other conditions such as that?
Yes, the answer is yes. I see that. I can't confirm it or recommend it at this point, but we spoke last night actually exactly about this topic, because now that we know it helps with allergic reactions. Several of our customers have tested other allergic reactions and so on. And my question really is, so how does it affect eczema, for example? And then we heard from another customer who had a huge rash here in the back, and then she put her whole head in the infinity block, and it stopped. Right, the whole burning stopped.
Wow.
Again, this is anecdotal at this point, so I want to be mindful. But I do think there's something there and to be explored. And what we need to figure out is, okay, so what is the strength level that we need for that, and how long do you need to put your arm with the eczema underneath it, for example?
Right.
And then we need to do a full-blown study where we can then literally see, okay, it really works all the times, and these are the parameters so that we can give guidance. But I do think there's opportunity there for sure.
So there's obviously a lot of potential in different areas that this technology can go into, but you're having challenges. You were talking about this a little earlier, getting people to believe it until they try it, right? And so that's going to be a challenge maybe going forward, but it's nice to see that after, that people have the humility to say, okay, this really works, So I think that's really cool to see. But talking a little bit more about the company side of things, are you guys not only expanding into skincare or other areas, but maybe less obscure areas, like instead of cancer, maybe like a rare condition of the heart or something like that? Or how many studies are you lining up to look at in this moment for the future?
Yeah, good question. So again, we try to focus not really on the medical side and on certain conditions, because we feel like we're anyway prevented from making claims in that regard. So we look at overall health. But of course, if you run a study, you can't only just look at the blood and see that. There's certainly interest of a lot of people in certain conditions. And it so happens that it has been found that it helps with autism and many other things. But then out of this autism group of people that tried our technology and had great results, it happened that a medicine clinic out of India that focuses solely on helping autistic kids felt that, oh my God, we need to try this. They tried it, and then they ran a full-blown clinical study that is still ongoing since 6 months now. And already after 3 months, they've reported that 70% of the kids showed significant improvements.
Wow.
And the improvements were across the board, and the 30% other ones showed improvements. It was not that they stayed the same.
Okay.
And speech improved, which is probably the biggest concern of parents with autistic kids.
Yeah.
Bowel movement improved, and attention span. Those are the 3 top ones that improved with each kid over time. And already little improvements are amazing for those parents, because they don't really know what to do. There's not much you can do. Yeah, and it's quite phenomenal. And also there, of course, there's no placebo effect because the kids don't even know the way this is happening with the technology. They don't even know that that is going
Right.
on. So that is one. There's another dark field microscopy study being run in Austria right now. That is quite big, and we're going to do another study with the Emoto Institute in Japan. So that's all kind of on the horizon. And then an athlete study as well is planned, but we have planned it for 8 months now, and because of all the travel restrictions and everything, it hasn't happened yet. But I think it'll happen towards the second half of the year because performance is another thing where we've seen amazing results. I mean, we have a professional baseballer using our technology. We have one of the top 5 pole vaulters in the US using our technology already. And we're doubling every quarter. And we're only doubling every quarter because the products work and the people talk about it and they feel the results. And that's pretty much the reason. And what's fascinating, and that's the last point I really want to make, is we have a community with 4,000 people by now on Telegram. It's a private group, so you can't find it on Telegram, but we share with everyone interested the invite link, and we can do that here as well if you're interested. It's a community of people that is interested in this technology, that's using this technology or wants to learn more about it. It's totally for free and you can learn a lot, but there's all these people doing their research on their own, and that's kind of what we need, right? Because we can't do it on our own,
Right.
all of it, and a lot of people have great ideas. You know, if there's someone that has the technology and has a kid with eczema, then they may try things out and report back to
Right.
the community, and that's how things come. And once we hear that multiple times, oh, it worked with this and worked with this, then we help facilitate the study.
I understand.
That's kind of how we work, and yeah, so we're very grateful to have all those wonderful people.
That's one of the best ways of collaboration, I think, is self-experimentation and letting the community know, and having that community tie. I think that's a big deal of what biohacking is about,
Yeah.
especially. So my last question would be about the whole studies that you said are ongoing and everything. Once these studies start coming out and the data starts coming out and you're getting more clear evidence of different conditions and health, is the idea to eventually put one of these devices in every American home or every worldwide home, like to help things out, or how's the future going with this product?
So that certainly would be a wonderful scenario, and for us, that business part is really secondary because we do that because, yeah, we want to really bring this out because we know it helps people, and yeah, we hope that more people can benefit from it. And so from that standpoint, yes, that would be a great vision to have. I don't think we'll land there that everyone will have it, but I think a lot of the people will have it, and more also in the future, because I think it is the future. Frequency medicine, or how we call it, quantum frequency medicine, is something that's just in the Kinderschuhs.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we're well positioned with our products because they work so well, yeah, to help people with that. And ultimately, this should possibly have a space in each children's hospital and so on.
Right.
And that's actually something that we want to help with too. So we're a conscious company. We plant a tree for every order that we get, and if we can, get some infinity blocks out to schools or to hospitals, we've done that in the past, and we will continue to do that in the future too.
Very cool, Philip. Well, that's all very intriguing stuff. I'm sure everyone here is learning a lot. And I'll give you the last word, sir, of how they could get in touch with you or how they could find out more about this technology.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. So I would really encourage you, of course, you can look at leelaq.com. That's LEELAQ.com. But the Telegram group is really the way to go to check in and see, what's possible with the technology. And you can ask questions there. And, if you don't believe my word, as the founder of this, you can find thousands of people that use this technology in various ways and ask them, what do you think? What did you experiment? What do you recommend? So yeah, just join that community and we'll provide the link here.
Thank you, Philip, again, the founder of Leela Quantum Tech, and I'm Dallas McClain from Biohackers Magazine. Be sure to check out Biohacking Congress to get tickets to the next event in Boston, June 11th to June 12th. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great day.